Shalom, and welcome to another episode of GMS in Transit, where we prophesy on the road. Today's topic is a breakdown of Zechariah, the 14th chapter, because a couple of brothers had asked about that breakdown. Now, a lot of times when we go into that scripture, that chapter rather, we 14, go to right? The 14. We start at the 14th chapter and we go to the 12th verse, which goes into the effects of the missiles destroying Esau. But we're going to start from the very beginning. We're going to start from the first verse, so I'm going to pass it to the elders.
This is the book of Zechariah 14:1. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee.
Yeah, the day of the Lord, there's really only one day of the Lord, and that's getting ready to happen. So we know it's talking about, now. We know it's talking about this situation that we in right now, right before the end of the world.
For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the rest and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle.
Now go from there to Revelation, the 20th chapter and the 7th verse.
All right, this is the book of Revelation chapter 20, verse 7. It says, "And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth."
Now, when you read Revelation, the 20th chapter, and you go to the first verse, there's a lot of people that read this get confused because they think that Esau is going to be destroyed, and then 1,000 years while we enjoying ourselves in the kingdom, Esau is going to come back up from the grave, so to speak, and he's going to take down Israel and take down our kingdom, or the Most High's kingdom. That's not going to happen. So you got to understand the difference between the 1,000 years in the first verse in relation to the 1,000 years in the 7th verse. The 1,000 years in the 7th verse is talking about the same 1,000 years in the first verse. Because when was Esau taken down? During the time of the so-called Byzantine Empire. That's when Constantine came into power, which he was a worshiper of pagan gods and so forth. The sun, he worshipped the sun and so forth, and it said that he received a vision and so forth. But we know that was fulfillment of Jake taking Esau over, but Jake fully wasn't woken up to the truth.
Right. It says, "And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth."
Yeah, because when the Roman Empire came into power, they didn't deceive the whole world. Just a part of the world. The European, Europe, Asia Minor, the Middle East, including Jerusalem, that region. That's where they had. That was the height of their power. They didn't know anything about the other side of the world. So you can understand. Read that again.
It says, "And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth."
Yeah, so that took place during the time of Christopher Columbus, King Ferdinand, and Queen Isabella. During that period of time, you had this individual by the name of Torquemada. That was during the time of the Inquisition, where they were converting. They would torture you or kill you if you went around saying that you were a Jew. Now, Christopher Columbus, they teach that he was an Italian. Now, he was born in, I believe it was Genoa, Italy. And so, therefore, they say he was an Italian. But he lived in Spain, all right? Because he was dealing with the king and the queen, you know, Ferdinand and Isabella. And they were the king and queen of certain parts of Spain. I believe Castile was one of them, and there was another region of land. But I mean, if you had those two regions of lands, that you had a lot of power. And the Italians, you know, did trade with them. They were all Edomites, but this guy was really a so-called Jew that converted to so-called Christianity. When you read certain documents on that.
It says, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about.
The breadth of the earth and the camp of the saints is talking about the land of Israel. So read the 7th verse again.
It says, and when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city, and fire came down from the Most High out of heaven and devoured them.
So we know that's not talking about 2,000 years ago, because fire didn't come down from heaven to devour the Romans, the ancient Romans, the pagan Romans. And it's not talking about Sodom and Gomorrah, because that was a different time period. All right, go ahead.
It says, and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone.
Now, in the churches, these clowns in the churches, these idiots and these assholes in the churches, you know, they teach that if you not right, you don't accept Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior, that you're going to burn in hell and the devil going to meet you. Now, why would you cast the devil into hell if he's already in hell? To show you how stupid these people in the church are. And I'm going to name some names. Price, Dr. Price, now he's Apostle Price. Creeplow Dollar. T.D. Fakes.
Manning.
Who?
Pastor Manning.
Pastor Manning. Yeah, another phony that the Lord's not dealing with. Name some others. One just dropped dead. He was found in a hotel in Manhattan, and there was cocaine all around him. He was snorting cocaine, and he dropped something, but cocaine hit his heart and killed his ass. And who else? Kirk Franklin, that demon. Who else? Oh, you got Jones, Grace Jones' brother. I forget his first name. He's a pastor, but he's a flaming faggot, along with his butt buddy. What's his name? Kirkland. One of them faggots. A lot of those pastors and ministers are a bunch of homosexuals, just like you got a lot of homosexuals among the Roman Catholic priests and child molesters. Oh, Eddie Long is a straight up faggot. Yeah, Eddie Thong. So the Most High is going to destroy all them bastards, man.
It says, and the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face.
And the beast is talking about NATO. The woman in scarlet that sits on top of the beast is Babylon, which is the great whore. That's America, and the EU is part of that whole setup. So basically, that hell is talking about the destruction, the devastation, the total annihilation of this white man, because the military powers to be on this planet is NATO, the EU, and the US is a part of that.
And I saw a great white throne. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before the Most High, and the books were open, and another book was open, which was the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire.
The other nations, starting with Esau, you're not written in the book of life. The Israelites are written in the book of life. And they're going to receive the first resurrection, so to speak. In other words, they're not going to suffer the second death. Although 2/3 of Israel is going to die in this deal, they're going to come right back. They're going to come right back. They're going to sit on thrones. You Edomites, you're going to be in a dead state. To show you that it's not talking about physically dead so much, if you go to the book of Romans, the 11th chapter, the scriptures refer to us as being dead and not being put in graves. In other words, you're going to be on the bottom. You're going to be a nobody. You're going to be a bum. You're going to be a slave. Now let's go back to Zechariah.
Zechariah 12:3. Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west, and there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south.
That basically means don't get all messed up in north, south, east, and west. It's talking about this society, this system is going to be scattered. Like in Daniel's, it speaks about the four winds. What are the four winds? North, south, east, and west. So this society is going to be broken up.
5th verse. And he shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yea, ye shall flee like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. And the Lord, my power, shall come, and all the saints with thee.
So when this society is getting broken down and destroyed, you're going to flee. In other words, you're going to be delivered. You're going to be saved. You're going to be rescued. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord, not day nor night, but it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea. In summer.